Cincinnati, what's up?
Yes, sir.
Hustle for Change business seminar is going down November 6th. We're going to be out there bringing that $1 million worth of game. You know what we do. I'm bringing this net right
Cincinnati.
here. Cincinnati, what's up?
Yeah, y'all know all my homies in Cincinnati, pull up.
Pull up. It's going down, man.
You hear me?
Hustle
Pull
for
up.
Change. $1
Right.
million worth of game. We be there November 6th. Cincinnati. Listen, man, don't meet us there. Beat us there. And it's
Right.
just like that.
Right.
Pull up in motorcades. I got a show today.
Was going to work, but within a few short months, I was able to leave my full-time job. I had my first 20.
I really need another producer at this point. Yeah, I really need another producer at this point because you doing it all right now. Just ridiculous. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Hustle and Motivate podcast. So I know a lot of you guys are expecting Ebony J to be on this particular episode with us, but we had a double booking in schedule, which is like the first time that has ever happened ever. So I know she is doing an interview on her page now. So hopefully you guys were able to check in and chime in because they're talking about something great. But tonight I am here with the lovely Miss Tanya Tyler. I know you guys possibly remember her from a few episodes back. So we're going to just be talking about media and business and just sharing some of our experiences because we both have media platforms. We have been in the world of media. We have seen how it has worked on many sectors. And so I know a lot of people who are either wanting to jump into media or learning how they can utilize media can find what we talk about tonight very interesting. But first, I need y'all, if you have not already, make sure you get your tickets to the Hustle for Change business seminar happening on November 6th. This is like the reason why we're here tonight, to promote this amazing business seminar that's going to be taking place in the city. If you are needing help with business, if you're looking to network and connect with the right people that can help you grow your business, hey, if you're really trying to meet Wallow and Gilly, you need to be in the building November 6th for the the Hustle for Change business seminar. It's going to have everything from vendors to speakers to panel discussions. It'll be some food trucks there. So like you could be there all day. We're going to make sure we got something playing the Bengals because we know this is on a Sunday and the Bengals are playing. So don't feel like you're going to miss out. Be in the building November 6th. Those tickets are still on sale, but they are selling out fast. So make sure you get yours. And you will also have the opportunity to see myself and Miss Tanya hitting the main stage at Hustle for Change. So I'm just super excited. So how are you doing this evening?
Miss Aziza, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm doing fine. I love connecting with people, especially entrepreneurs and business women like you.
This is awesome. I'm very excited about our conversation tonight. So everybody knows like my style of interviews or just conversations, anytime I'm on live, it's always organic. We don't like, unless somebody requests, I need to have questions so I can see where this conversation is going. Now, I'm not going to blindside you with no type of questions, but I like to allow just the energy and, spirit at the end of the day kind of take over the conversation. So at the end, to get some type of great information to the people that are watching. So I'm just so excited to have you guys here. So Tanya, I know the first time we were on here, we had like 4 other people with us, probably 3 other people with us. And we were, everybody got to get their brief descriptions in and you kind of shared a little bit about yourself. But just give us like another intro into who you are and what you do while we get into the conversation.
Again, thank you, Miss Aziza. It's a pleasure to be here. For those who are not familiar with me, I'm Tanya Tyler. I am a podcast person as well. My podcast is Coffee with Tea. And I am a former I guess you say I'm retired military, so I have that military mindset that I had to overcome because I was very programmed. But it's been a great ride. So yeah, I'm just exciting to share my experience with everyone. Again, like Miss Aziza said, I have experience in the social media. I used to be a social media manager for a period of time, right? Flying out to California and all that stuff, and I gave that up to figure out what I wanted to do for myself. So it's a pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure. So let's start there. You flew out to California, social media manager. So are you used to like managing like large platforms and handling that type of thing? Tell us a little bit of just about that background and experience.
Well, I didn't have large backgrounds. What my priority was. It wasn't like corporate. It was individuals. I used to do Hollywood people. I would couple of people I used to manage their social media and keep their audience engaged. So like if they had a premiere show, I would be the one responding back to the messages and keeping the conversation going or giving them ideas of how to keep their audience engaged. And I would be the one out there taking pictures of them on the red carpets and all that wonderful stuff. And so I was following them. I was so fascinated with what they were doing. I never really stopped to figure out what did I want to do, because at that time social media was really big and people were like, you can really make money. So I was money driven. This was just sort of leads to our conversation. But I used to go out there, and that's when I really had the experience of learning about Hollywood. I loved it, and it really opened the doors to really figuring out who I was. So
yeah, I love, like, when I first went to California and specifically just the Hollywood, being able to drive past the Netflix studios and Universal Studios, and I felt like home. Like I really, like, I don't know if it's just because I'm a media person and I felt like I found my home where I need to be, eventually need to end up there, or it's just that the energy of that place, but it was something magical. Something very, very magical. So it's just interesting. You said I love that. I'm like, I love it too. And I just had a little glimpse of just being there. And I said, oh yeah, I'm about to give me a house. I got to do something just to be out in this atmosphere. Because it felt right.
yeah, it did. And I like to a couple of the people that I used to manage their social media. It was weird because, like I said, I seen them on TV. Some of them I grew up watching TV, and then I'm out here with them, and they're calling me back here in Cincinnati. I'm like, I used to laugh like, oh my God, Hollywood's calling me. So I used to get excited. I was really like excited. And when I was out there covering the red carpets events, I remember the one client that I had. He used to say, because I would get out on the red carpets after the lights would go out, because I was just support. I wasn't the main show. And he used to say to me, I think one that really reflected me. He was like, "Don't wait for the lights to go out before you're seen." And I was like, that was my thing. And I remember one other client that I had. He was like, "You're straight Hollywood." And at the time I was like, "Well, that could be bad." He's like, "No, sis, that's a good thing." And I was like, I realized that was my thing. But at the same time, Mrs. Aziza, I was like, I don't want to be an actress. What is causing me to want to be out here? So I was like, maybe I need to go home and figure out who I am first.
Wow. So can you share some of the celebrities that you did work for?
Yeah, I worked for Ernest Thomas. I don't know Raj from What's Happening.
Okay.
And I did Tyrone DeWolves. He's the one on oh my goodness, he's the commentary for oh my gosh, I can't think of the name of the show, but it was really, he did the commentator for he's gonna forgive me, Tyrone. I can't think of it, but I also did the That's So Raven's the mom for That's So Raven, Takia Crystal Kima. I worked with her, and I did the gentleman at the time. It was, you caught me on the line. I should have wrote the names down, but I was doing the media for Tyler Perry's show. It was really big. The Have and Have Nots. I did one of the actors on that show, so I used to manage his when it was really big. So, like I said, just going out there on the red carpets was just amazing.
Wow. Yeah, the red carpet is really fun. I like red carpets. It's always fun. I think the first major red carpet event I went to was the Trumpet Awards, but that was like back in like right before COVID. And that was like pretty good to be like, oh wow, like I'm really here rubbing elbows. Like it's just a different feel. But that was in Atlanta. Definitely, even though Atlanta is like the mecca of film, it does not touch that energy you get in Cali. Like Hollywood, it does not touch it. So that is interesting. So I know one thing with being in media, one of our roles is to get, you know, information to people, whether that be good information or bad information. Let's talk just a little bit about because you talked about went to California, finding out what it is you wanted to do, and now you're doing your own show, doing your own podcasting. Like, how was that journey as far as like figuring out, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. I feel better here versus red carpet. Let's get into acting. What movies you're gonna be in and all that kind of stuff.
Well, I would say the biggest thing I think I still have that ambition of being on a red carpet. So I think that's what drives me because I loved being on the red carpet.
Right.
But the biggest thing was I was following their dreams, and
Okay.
I wanted to figure out what my dreams. So when I came back, it was a couple of years from when I was like out there doing it in 2013. And then what happened was I decided I was like, well, I'm leaving. And they were like, come over, like, how can you leave us? And I was like, well, I got to follow my dreams. So it was an amicable, you know, decision, but I know someone were like, oh, really? You're giving up on us? I was like, it's not that. I just got to figure out what it. So they supported me. And when I left out, I was like, who am I? You know, what am I? And I really took up the time to start reading. I really did a lot of reading at that time. And I didn't really have a business. I didn't do anything. I just was like reading. Like I said, I read, and I didn't realize I was studying sociology, like the behavior of the mind. I was just drawn into that mindset. Like, why do we do what we do? So fast forward to 2020 or 2020. That's when I was like walking, because that's where I used to get my insight. I was walking, and I was like asking the universe, what am I going to do with my platform? And I remember having the talk with Miss Takia Crystal Kaman, and I was like, and you have this platform, and if I was a celebrity, this is what I would do. And then something was like, well, Tanya, you have a platform. You may not be a celebrity, you may not be in the movies, you may not even, you know, be a business owner, but we all have a platform. And so that journey took me into figuring out, how can I share our voices? Like everyday people have great knowledge. How can I be a source for good for that? How can I help them communicate in this noisy world? Because like I said, that social media, you start speaking and the world gets louder and you need more voices, you need more. So it's like, how can I help those who want to share their message? And that's how the podcast started. So it's really not really about me. It's helping people amplify their voice.
Okay. That's interesting that you said you study sociology and the interest in understanding how the mind works, because one of the things when it comes to media is really you're getting into the minds of people, which kind of sounds crazy, but that's essentially what's happening. You're getting into the minds of people to get them to do specific things. Like even when like some of my clients that I do advertising for, when we have to do logos or come up with an event or a product, it's important that we follow a color scheme, like choosing the right colors or logo while we're doing this, because at the end of the day, the subconscious mind of an individual is responding to the colors, is responding to the things that we're not aware that it's responding to. Wait, hold on. My assistant's locked out. Was that him? Yeah. Okay. Sorry, guys. And so I just found it interesting because I had a natural curiosity for psychology and understanding how the mind works, why we do the things we do, and to really see how that is a strong component when it comes to media is interesting, because you're really tapping into the minds of people. So let's talk a little bit, I guess, our experience as far as why is this so important when it comes to having a business? Because some people really think that media is not, media is probably one of the most powerful tools of propaganda out there for any business. Like if you're really having a business, you have to have some type of presence. Let's talk about those benefits of why it's so important, if that makes sense. I hope I explained that right. I did get kind of interrupted for a second, but just the importance of why media is so important. Like you have to have that budget for the media. You have to give the time, because some people like, I don't have time to do the media of my business. I didn't have to do it before, but is very crucial now, especially if you want to get sales, if you want to grow, if you want to expand. You got to have some type of media presence, even if it's not television or radio, but media expands into so many different areas.
I think I'm with you now. Thank you for framing it. Because here's I can understand, and I'm going to share a little bit of a story, I guess, like a little bit of how I understand how it works. Is from the psychology world, it's all about the study of society, right? That's basically what it was, and I didn't even know that's what it was, but somebody was like, that's what that is. So it's like, okay, so as I started to learn myself, it went into how do I react, right? So if I learned how I reacted, that meant I could learn how others react, right? So this is how it all ties together, right? So with social media, people are curious. People are curious, and they're not going to just like, it's like in business, they say there's 8 to 10 touches before somebody will do business with you, right?
Right.
So the thing is, people may like you, they may trust you, maybe want to know more information about you, but what they're going to do, they're not going to just come and ask you. They're going to go and do their research. And so what they find across in your media is what's really being the information that's presented first. So if you're not actively sharing your story, somebody else is. So that's part of why we need to figure out what our brand is, who we're talking to, because no matter what, there are people out there who are creating websites off of you, whether you know it or not. So one of the biggest things you can always do is Google yourself and see what comes up.
Sorry.
No problem. So I that's the biggest thing, is if you're not telling your story, somebody else is telling it, and you want to be the creator of your story.
Right. And that's so important, because I was just, one of my good friends, Kateria knows, she was on the cover of Natural Woman magazine. We'll plug it in. But she's an amazing astrologist, and astrology is so amazing. But one of the things I know, when I interviewed her and we really talked about the importance of just having your branding, just the importance of having your brand presence, and not being a part of what society's telling you to be a part of. So it's a trend happening where everybody wants to be the same. Everybody want to look the same. It's, you want to do that. But when it comes to brands and wanting to stand out, the area where everybody should be is being authentic, being yourself, being who you are, and letting that part shine, because that's the one thing nobody can mimic. That's the one thing nobody can take. And being able to incorporate that gives you that special, incorporate that into your brands, gives you that special sauce with standing out, because nobody can mimic that. Nobody can touch that. And right. So that is super important, being able to utilize the platforms and media to get your brand out there. And the more that you tell your own stories, that you share that true part of yourself, that's what's going to make you stand out. And it's crazy, because it's always the thing that you kind of don't want people to know about you is the thing that people are going to love about you, because it's the thing that's different. And that gets scary. And I'm like, my main thing that I tell people with me is that I'm when people see all the things that I do, and I can talk about the people I've interviewed, the things I've done, and I'm thinking all this stuff is amazing. The most amazing thing that people see about me is the fact that I got 7 kids. They're like, how in the heck do you do this, woman? That is the thing that just makes me, I get the utmost respect. The people look at me differently, and it's just like, oh, wow. And I'm like, wow. And this is the thing that I kind of don't push out there first, just because of the stigma around, Black women got a bunch of kids. But it's like, that's the thing that everybody loves about me. And I'm like, okay, let me just embrace that. Like, you know, that's just a part of who I am. Not that I haven't embraced it, but it's just like, that is like the thing that you would never think.
Right.
Okay, oh, she owns a magazine, cool. Been there, done that. Oh, she got 7 kids. Like, wow, she's still able to do everything she does. And that's like that's the thing. And so it's really the thing that you don't even think that people are watching or will gravitate towards is the thing that people are going to be gravitating towards when it comes to you. So have you found that thing with yourself and your brand?
I think I'm still discovering it, but I think everybody knows me by my walks. I've been an avid walker for over 9 years.
Okay.
And I can go. Most people are like, "Are you still walking 5 miles?" I was like, "Yes, I am every day."
Wow.
Right? So they know me by my walking 5 miles, and I'll run on occasion. So the other day I did a 5-mile run, and but I wanted to add to. I'm taking sign language classes right now.
Okay.
Stepping out into something new. And my sign language classes had nothing to do. I've never shared it with my instructor or anything like that. But what he did today on our 3rd class, he goes, "Your website's impressive." And I'm like, "Oh, you looked at my website. Okay." And he says, "Maybe you'll, empower deaf women as well." And I'm thinking to myself, you Googled me. That's the first thing I was like, "Oh, you Googled me." So again, being active in your story, and you're the one sharing the story that you want to tell. I mean, of course, people can dig more stuff up on you, but the thing is like, if they know you by a certain thing, that's setting you apart. So I'm learning to embrace it. I struggled with my social media for that for a while because I was like, "No, I don't market anything. I don't market." But they're like, "Tanya, people know Confidence Strides. They know you as a walker. And that's the one thing that might inspire them to look further." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, I walk. I walk every day."
Right.
Every day.
That's awesome. I started a good walking regimen and that I've slacked for 2 weeks. And so now I need to get back on it because that really changes just moving your body and being active. Like I just try to do 2 miles. You do 5. and that's probably like just easy work for you. So that's I think that's really amazing. I think that's really
well, again, you talked about the kids. I was like, when you introduced yourself, I didn't know anything about you. And when you introduced the first thing, I was like, "She got 7 kids. That's inspiring." So I guess what it is it inspires people that, how's she raising these children and still living her dream? It's an inspiration. Like, she does all these walks, but yet she still gets on time and gets on the podcast. It's like, if they can do it, I can do it.
Yeah, and that's it. That's the key, and that's the whole goal, being that source of inspiration to get people to be like, okay, if you can do it, I can do it. And that's like really that has been one of the reasons why I continue to do what I do. Not to say that that's my mission, but I look at it as one, I'm being an example for my children to know, like, okay, no matter what adversities or just anything, like my mom went for her dreams, and she built this for our family. But even the single mom with 3 kids, or, just the teenage mother, because I was a teenage mom at 16. Like, oh, wow, you don't have to be a statistic. Like, oh, she didn't go to college to do the thing she wanted to do. She literally created something and had more kids through the process, was married and had a family, but still been able to pursue. And that's the joy I get to know, that I help somebody to be able to, change their life or to feel like they can strive for more. Because that's what we're here for. And that's like the importance of storytelling and making sure that your story is told, especially behind your businesses, y'all, because I can tell you so many people that do consultations of branding for me, they want to be the next this person, the next that person. And when we do our consultations, I say, well, tell me something about yourself, and let's see how we can relate this to your business. For example, as one of my clients, she has this amazing skincare line. And her reasoning for creating a skincare line was to heal her own skin. because she had, eczema and dealing with all the regular types of lotions and stuff like that wasn't working. So she made her own product, and she started off making it in the kitchen and just all the stuff that she kind of didn't want people to know, because she wanted people to look at her product. You don't want to look at it and be like, oh, this came from the kitchen. Like, you want to think like it came from a factory. But I'm like, no, is that story right there that's going to make people to want to support you, because you're telling them, people don't know the process of what it takes to build something. Or to grow a brand, or to create products, to find the person to wrap the labels around so it looks professional. They just think you just automatically got to have a lot of money to make this stuff happen. And a lot of times it ain't really a lot of money needed to make things happen. It's just really having the ambition, the drive, and the heart to go after things that you want. And that's the magical piece, because, it just comes together. So
Yeah, I think that in my walk and how it all tied together. Again, like I said, I've walked for 9 years and soul searching, I guess you could say, and reading and letting seas take flight and stuff like that. But eventually, it was like, you were known for walking, and and it was Mark. Matter of fact, it was Mark Givens who I was working with him before I went to the California thing. I was working with Mark, and he was like, if you were a consultant, what would your company name? Think about that time. And I was like, okay, Mark. So I go out for a walk. That's what I do, right? I go for a walk. I was like, well, what would my name be? And I'm walking, and I'm like, Confident Strides. So that's how it all came about. So that's how it all came to circle. So yeah. So if I was consulting, I get all my insight, I get all my clarity on my walks. So that's why. And then the thing is, it's like you get healthy and you get, clear about what your priorities are. And I don't consult, I don't take any action, I don't do any shows without first going for a walk.
I love it. That's awesome. So we have a comment, Alexis James. She says, hello, being Hollywood is a good thing. I know, I'm from there and I loved it. Yes, Hollywood is the place to be. Like, especially the place to be if you're into film and want to just really get into that energy. I guess it was that confirmation to know, like, this is the path I should stay on, because it felt right. And you don't have that, like, we go through life, but it's when you have those moments when it just connects and aligns, you better trust it. So I definitely agree with you, Alexis.
I want to add too, another thing was, remember how the universe lines things for you. So a couple of years ago, I was on a walk, and I came home, and I was scrolling through my social media, and I came across Oprah. That's when she was doing those 8-city tours and stuff like that. Okay. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and just book myself. Now, mind you, I don't mind walking by myself. I do that all the time, right? So when I booked my flight, I was like, I'm going to this event, and I paid my $99 ticket. So I was like, and they're like, who are you going to go with? I said, I'm going by myself. I walk. I don't have a problem with this. I walk 6-7 miles a day. Do you think I'm scared to go someplace by myself? Right. So I get to the event, and it was just, like you said, confirmation that I was on the right path. And I'm thinking, I got to see Oprah. And it's been an inspiration along since. It's like, just trust your gut. The universe will give you the answers when you need it. Just go with the flow.
Go with the flow. That's the best advice, because when you're following, I guess society programs us not to trust ourselves. Everything that we learn is telling you not to trust nothing inside of you telling you what's the right thing. It's to trust what's in this book, trust what this person says. But that is so key, when you can trust yourself and allow that magic to take place. And, again, like, you'll be like what you just said, I got to see Oprah. That's still a bucket list for me that I have to check off. Her and Tyler Perry are my two. I haven't.
Oh, Tyler Perry, yes. And I saw at the event, I saw a Yellow Van Zant, so I did my work. So I'm like,
okay,
I did my work.
You did your work. I love it. I definitely love it. So we've been talking, just for everybody who is just now tuning in, this is Hustle and Motivate. I'm here with Tanya Taylor, and we're just having a discussion about our media journeys, being in media, in business, how media plays just an important role into being able to get some space inside of the mind of your consumer or potential client. That's why we got, people spending millions of dollars, thousands of dollars on advertisements on television, radio. People have don't even look at my Facebook advertising budget. Like every time I look at the yearly budget, I'll be like, damn, I spent this much money with Facebook. Like it works. It's money well spent. But having that advertising, that utilizing your media for your business is what's going to help your business grow. And one of the things when it comes to media is one, knowing the client, especially when it's advertising. I know being social media managers, I don't know how detailed you went into social media management, because I do that sometimes too. But a lot of times I got to look at the analytics. And I got to, really, when it comes to certain events, especially when you're doing Facebook or Instagram ads, for example, you can't just say, I want to target all the Asian women in California. I want to target all the Black women in Atlanta. It's not going to let you do that. So you have to know your audience. So you got to say, okay, I want to target the people, so let's do Hustle for Change, for example. Okay, that's happening. So when we do our social media ads for that, we can't just say, let's target Black men ages 20 to 40 that listen to Wallow and Gilly. That's like, if Facebook and Instagram allows you to do that with marketing, it'll be amazing, but it does not. So we had to really understand who that market is. So you got to know what type of movies they watch. What kind of music will they listen to? What kind of activities will they do? So then you got to think about, okay, most people probably play basketball. They watch football. They like LeBron James. They listen to Lil Wayne. Those are the things you got to know who the people you're targeting are, so that you can reach them, so they can see what it is you have. Now, this is a whole nother topic. I do the graphic designing stuff. So once you find out that audience, you got to make sure that whatever content that you're reaching out to them is eye-catchy enough for them to want to go click and learn more about it. That's one thing, but it's a formula to it. And media plays that important role of getting you to your client. And, I think it helps a lot than what it was 30 years ago. Mm-hmm. When we didn't have social media and you really had to have that advertising budget for television, for newspapers, for magazines. Now, $20 a day, you can start reaching people for your business. So guys,
what I was thinking is I love what you're doing. I don't really get more into the advertising part. I do more of because I do Alexis is with me. I want to give a shout out to Miss Alexis. She's with me over on Meetup. But we host events, and our biggest thing is getting people to think, right? So that's the biggest thing that I really try to get people to think. So I have to know how I'm thinking, or
right.
What would cause them to do something, right? What would I get? And it sounds horrible when you really think of it. It's like that, but I have to know how to get you to do something I want you to do, right? So, I know you're doing the same thing, but it's I do the content, I do the copywriting type thing. Okay. So you're really getting to the think of okay, if I do this, I need them to click this to do this. And if they don't do this, then I need to do this. So it's you're taking 2 steps ahead. If they do this, then we could do this. If they don't do this, then we get to do this, right? And it sounds, like I said, it sounds manipulative, and that's really, I guess, the way you want it. It is, right? Let's just call it what it is. You're sort of, but the thing is here's the beautiful part of it. I know how it works, right? So if you know how it works, then you can create systems to help people deprogram from it. Right. So that's my biggest thing. I learned a lot about why things get us hooked, why social media is the way it is. I really went into that. How do they get us hooked? So when I talk to these women and they want to struggle, how do I get off of it? I can tell you, this is why they're doing it. This is what you need to do to fight against it. So it's I love a love-hate relationship but it also can be again, if you study it, I guess you say the monster. I know the
Yeah.
monster. But if I know the monster, that means I know how to fight against the monster.
Right.
And that's my thing, is like I try to educate people to fight against that monster. Yes, we can use it, but know why you're using it. Ask yourself, why are you doing it? Why are you on here? And that's really where I'm at now in my journey of it. Because like I said, for so long, I was like, oh yeah, you need to have it. But I never asked them, do you know why you need it?
Yeah.
And is this the proper, platform for you? So let's examine that a little bit more, because this might not be what you need.
You said a lot of things to unpack in that, and that's really powerful, because that's what media and marketing is. Like, when you, for example, your Facebook pixels, when you get into that part, that pixel tells Facebook everything about you, how long you're on there, what are the things you watch, what do you think, like everything, because the goal is, so when people pay for advertising, Facebook will know how to get it to that person. And I know one of my elders at one point when I started in media, they said, because at first, it's so funny. I'm gonna share this story. So I had my awakening, my woke. I've been woke for a long time. Okay. So when I had my awakening, and my awakening happened where, like, I just started learning more about the deeper depths of religion, the more about the manipulation with media and just our history. So I was just so mad that I didn't watch television. I didn't participate in the radio. Like, that whole year Drake was out, y'all, I wasn't listening to Drake and Kendrick Lamar. I wasn't at no clubs. Like, I wasn't watching no television shows, like, because I felt like that was the enemy. That was what destroyed just our community. And this is how they've been entrapping us. And as I learned more about who I was and got deeper into, what my gifts were, why I was here on this planet, what's my purpose, I started learning, like, wow, I need to get back into media. Like, this is like everything about of who I am. When I look at the stars and look at my numerology, is saying, okay, you need to be in communications. And so I had to learn, like you said, learn and understand why it does what it does. Because then once you understand that, you can then use it in a way that can make change. Like, one of my elders said, media is the biggest tool of propaganda. Like, they were like, you don't need to run away from it. Learn how to use it. And my ultimate goal, and this is, I stand on this when I jumped into media, is to want to inspire people to want to live their life. I think a lot of people like to live life by default because they don't know any better. Society, if you live by how the world runs, no offense, you live life by default. That doesn't say it's a bad thing, but it's kind of like we all have a specific gift and talent and tool. But in order to find that, you got to go within yourself to find out what that is and then utilize it. But a lot of us don't. We follow what holidays the television tells us to follow. We eat the things that come up on our cell phones when we're looking at ads or looking at televisions. We don't, heck, if you look at, I ain't gonna bring up Kanye too much, but a lot of y'all don't even like Kanye no more because of what the media has told you not to like him about. And then it's like a lot of people won't even listen to even come up with their own idea of what's happening. They automatically, like, and then a lot of people think, like, I don't even know why I'm like that. Like, a lot of you guys don't even know why you don't like certain things you like, and it's because of what's being programmed into you. And like you said, media is a powerful tool. It can be very detrimental, but it can be very, very powerful. It's all about knowing how to use it, understanding what it's doing. And what it's doing at the end of the day is attacking that subconscious mind. Like, once you get into the subconscious mind of your consumer, you have a loyal customer for life.
Oh, I am with you. I'm 100%, because when I started my podcast, I was called myself Reasoning with God. It was like, he was like, get off of Facebook. And I'm like, but wait a minute, I'm creating a podcast. That's where I need to be on right now. He's like, no, get off of Facebook. And I was like, can I just do it during the day? He's like, no, get off of Facebook. That was my digital download. I was like, "Oh, okay." So when I first created my podcast for the first year, I would say I was not even on I was not even on social media. I was not on Instagram. I wasn't on Facebook or anything. I focused on creating my podcast.
Mm.
And but again, like you said, I was mad because I knew how Facebook was making their money off of us. I know that.
Mhm.
I know how TikTok is making their money off of us. So it's like once you have that smoke, you can't put it back in the cigarette. It's unleashed, right?
Right.
So I was like, I'm quite mad. So I remember one gentleman, he was like, who made you mad? I said, Mark Zuckerberg. Right? But then I was like, get past that, Tanya. So when it was time to come back on, I took baby steps, and I had to come to an understanding that I wasn't violating my rules. So what happened though, this is how my walking plays a big, I guess, safety net, a big buffer in how I do it, because I know before I have to get on there, my mind needs to be clear about why I'm doing it. And the walks give me the clarity to be able to face that throughout the day. So when it comes time when most people are like, my phone is shut off by 6. It's like off and everything. And we're like, I can't do that. And I'm like, why? Well, I might miss something. That's the whole point of why they're programming you, because then you're feeling like you need to be on there. But life is happening in real time. You have families, you have husbands, you have friends who want to be connected. And then once you start realizing, you go to restaurants and you see couples both sitting at the table with their phones. And I'm like, and this is why I don't like social media, but I know I need social media. I just not, again, like I said with the podcast, don't let it control me. How do I use social media for my benefit and not use it against me? You know what I'm saying? How do I not get caught up in it? And walking every day gives me that non-negotiable buffer to be able to do that.
That's powerful. Because I know when I take my walks, I call that my church moment, because that's when I always have my ahas. That's always like, it is that buffer.
That's my time with God. It gives me my clarity. That's where I know my marching orders. All right, we're gonna go this way.
It comes. I always tell people, I know when I get a download, my head tingles, or if I know something is in alignment that I'm supposed to do, my head starts tingling. And so I definitely agree with that. And it is, we are coming in a time where social media has kind of like desensitized us. So we kind of like don't socialize with each other unless it's on social media. And that's like the scary part. That's the real scary part to a certain extent, especially when you understand how the subconscious mind works and how we create our realities. So, and I always tell people, I'm all like, my whole brand is Natural Woman, being able to be in tune with nature, have a balance in that. Sometimes it's okay to put the cell phone down and walk away, because we're heading as a human race, in my opinion, because I'm into all the science. I watch NASA, Elon Musk, I'm watching everything they're doing. Like, we're going to come to a point where, and this is what's going to cause a great imbalance, that we are so involved and giving so much energy to what's on here, what's on the screen, even though we're using this to tell you guys this, but we're using this platform, prime example, to tell you why you should balance it out. Like, you kind of, you cut off your power to create your reality. I remember I interviewed this lady years ago, and she said, what's happening in your 3D reality is the thing that's real to you. This stuff on here is not real. Even though they say right now there's a war on the other side of the country, that war is not here with you. So it's no war there. But they know if you keep it on your mind enough, you start putting out signals of fear. I'm nervous. I don't want this to happen. That's all you're thinking about. That's what pops up. That's what you're going to attract and bring into your reality. And so, I don't even know what steps people can take to start trying to balance that out, because we're so addicted to our phone. Some people, before they drink a cup of water in the morning, they got their cell phone and then scroll through social media and Instagram and check their messages before, you even go to the bathroom. So
I want to leave you with that. I want to. There are things we can do, and the biggest thing is what's easy to do is also what's easy not to do, right? So when we make it easy for ourselves to just pick up the phone when it's there, then we're going to do it. So what you have to do is give yourself that buffer. Put that phone down, put it in another room when you go to bed. So you're not picking it up the first thing in the morning. So, or like I said, if you go for a walk, put it in your purse. Yes, it could be there so you can get it, but turn it off maybe.
Mm.
Make it hard. Another good thing you can do on your phone, because the most important real estate is the prime space on your phone. Move
Mhm.
your apps around. Sometimes you can go ahead and take your apps and delete them, because when you have to go back and put them back in, you have to think, now I got to rethink and put
Mhm.
the password in, and then if you get struggled, when you have time with it, you get frustrated. You be like, okay, I'm just done.
Yeah.
So make it difficult to do the things that are easy for you,
Right.
because it's easy. That's why it's there. It's easy. So, when you need that buffer, put things that make it difficult for you to do it.
Mm. And those are some great tips. Those are definitely some great tips. Because I think it's very essential, y'all. We have to be able to, at the end of the day, I always tell people this, and I know this is not the topic of discussion. We are earth flowers, like we are earth trees, like we are parts of earth. And you can't cut your connection off to it, regardless on how distracted we can be with our phones, with our televisions, with whatever you got. And having that connection, like everybody knows, you follow my Instagram, I post about grounding, I post about just being out in nature, unplugging. Like those things help heal you. A lot of people are bombarded with fear and anxiety and wondering why cancer rates are so high, because all of that creates that type of atmosphere. But, when we're constantly being bombarded with things that get us on those type of levels, is like, it's no choice. I was just telling my friend yesterday that, like we really are desensitized to like crime and just some crazy, like if you look at CSI, all the CSIs, the first 48s, like all those crime stories and just the goriness in those stories, we're used to that stuff. Like
Yeah.
that has been programmed and conditioned in our minds to where that we can watch that and feel okay. Some people's favorite shows is CSI and all those
Oh,
things.
I was there, Mrs. Aziza. I was there again. But here's the thing: I was there. But here's another key point: check in with yourself. Here's another thing. I can give you like a lot of little things. When you're watching television,
Right.
hit your mute button in between commercials, because
Yeah.
if you have a continuous flow, you don't have that moment to stop and think. So when you're on commercials, hit that pause, or the mute button. It causes you to stop, take time, and distance yourself from it. And then what happens is, check in with your emotions. How do you feel when you're watching this stuff? If it's causing anxiety, then that might be an indication that that show may not be for you. And I had to get off of CSI, because I remember this one show. It was a show it was featuring young Black kids being how they do on CSI.
Yeah.
So I was so miserable by the time I got done watching that show. And I love that show. But I was like, I refuse to start feeling like this. And those are the things we can put in place when you start checking in with yourself. It's like, I don't like the way this is making me feel. There's times I have to get off of Facebook because I don't like the way it makes me feel.
Yeah.
And those are indications from your mind body system is telling you this is not healthy for you. And so that's the thing, like you said, being awake. Pay attention to those signs, because it's a mind body system that's talking to you and telling you this is not helpful. And if you continue, that's when you get stressed. Like you said, you get cancer. Also, there are things we can do. Of course, when I tell people I got off of Facebook, I had to I had a third eye. I was like, what? But I was like, for my mental health, I need to get off. So now people are starting to understand. So if you say, I got to get off, I got to give myself a break from mental health, people are starting to now understand why you do it. But yeah, check in with yourself,
Yeah.
do things, research it. There's so many ways you can get out there to distance. Like I said, put that buffer and connecting with nature is one of them.
Yeah. And not to say that these things are bad, because of course, all of us, we use social media for our business. You know, it's important, but it should not consume, and understanding the powers it has over your mind. Like you were saying at first, like, it sounds like manipulation, but it really is. Like we get manipulated to buy McDonald's. We get manipulated to, you know, do this.
It's on TikTok, you know, we get it.
All that, like, but that's how it works. And it can also be used for good. It can also be used for good. And I know one of those things when you were talking about paying attention to how you feel, it was the movie I can't think of the name. It's something Queen and Slim. That movie.
Mm-hmm.
I left that movie theater and I was mad because I felt like I was robbed of. I felt violated by the emotion the movie left me with. Like I was traumatized, and I was like, "Oh my God!" Like, I don't ever want to watch a movie like this ever again. I don't like the way this makes me feel. And I'm a very big person. I don't watch certain things if it's going to make me feel a certain kind of way, because I like to be on a certain frequency. I can't be anxious and negative and mad for a long period of time because I don't like the way that feels. And I'm really in tune with how I feel, where a lot of us don't even know how we feel today. Like right. You're not in tune with that at all. So that's like the things that Tanya is telling you guys are little things that can help like create that buffer so you can at least have that sense to yourself, you know, that sense to yourself, because it's really, our cell phone is probably the most addictive drug out there besides coffee and everything else. So
yeah, I want to also say, like I said, I'm not antisocial. Trust me, I love social media. But I have to say that you have to educate yourself and figure out how they're using it for you. Because again, if you know how they're using it for you, then you can create a program for you to use it for your well-being. And that's the end of the day. You know, what good is a great company when your mind is all messed up? You know, so it's like you gotta protect your mind just like you protect your money and protect your business. Your mind is just as important because that's your greatest asset right there, your ideas.
Mm-hmm. It is. It really is. And too, for people who are in media and utilize media, you know, we can't tell you what to do, but, you know, have integrity behind what you do and how you use it. Don't make it so much always about money and just entertainment and clicks and views. But at the end of the day, I feel like we all have a responsibility when you utilize this. It can be an amazing gift, like a love-hate relationship. You know, it's an amazing gift that we have that can be used to help enhance our personal lives, help grow our business, but have integrity in how you use it. Have some type of morals, you know, because like, and I know we got to wrap up here in a few minutes, because I'm gonna use the rap industry, how that industry has been used to create that prison, the pipeline situation we got going on.
I picked up on you said that last time. Yes.
Yeah, yes. I'm just like, how can we not see that? Like, let's be more responsible. Why do we keep making the music that we make? One, you're doing it because, you know, you're under contract, but somebody's paying you to create these harmful lyrics so other young Black men can hear this, to try to do the things that you're rapping about, also they can get caught up, you know, and that's a whole nother topic, but they getting caught up, getting thrown in prison, and them prisons getting about $50,000 a year from that one person being in there for about 10 years for having some weed, because they about to, you know, like I think the biggest line from the God Did song, the DJ Khaled that everybody loves, that Jay-Z said, he said it took Jesus, Jesus made wine into water, but for Hove it took him a stove, meaning like he got where he was at because he sold crack. You know, that was the whole thing. And just think of how many people have tried to sell crack to be like Jay-Z and ain't nowhere near close of it. And then you're wondering like, and why did I do that? Because you were programmed. Yes. Through the power of media. So have integrity when you use it. Understand how powerful it is, because what I think the powerful thing in media any type of media, especially when it comes to devices, the more senses, meaning our 5 senses, the more senses that are, I don't want to say distracted, but are used, that gets you closer to your subconscious mind. So when we're watching devices, watching television, we're looking at it and we're hearing it. These are really, really powerful. Those 2 senses right there that are engaged. That right. And then if you're eating while you're watching and listening to something, right? Now you got your taste buds, your taste is engaged, your smell is engaged. Or if you're in a blanket and covering, like when you get those senses engaged, your subconscious mind opens up and anything can be in there. And then you wonder like, man, why do I do this all the time? So guys, media is very, very important. It's very, very important. And it should be used in your business if you want to help grow your business, but also you got to have integrity. You got to have, and take a responsibility in it, because it's a very powerful tool. I enjoyed this conversation with you tonight, Tanya. This was really just informative. I love kind of how we kind of went with things. I know we can probably talk for a long time just about a lot of the things that you know. But tell us anything that you have coming up where we can learn more information about you. How can we tune into your podcast, and when is your next events coming up?
Well, thank you, Mrs. Aziza. Again, you can catch me November 6th at the Hustle
for Change.
Hustle for Change. I'm looking at Hustle and Motivate.
Yes.
Hustle for Change event. Yes, I will be there with Miss Aziza. So, and you can catch me on confidencerise.com, as she has put it down there. But my podcast is called Coffee with Tea. I do interviews with people. Basically, they share their passion as to how they become entrepreneurs. And again, you can find me on Meetup. So check us out. We're Confidence Rise on Meetup as well. So, yeah.
That is super awesome. I hope you guys enjoyed this conversation with us tonight. Tanya, it is such a pleasure just to be able to chat and talk with you guys. Make sure you check out Confidence Strides and make sure you get your tickets to Hustle for Change November 6th. Come see us both on stage along with Wallow and Gilly and some amazing business experts from the tri-state area. Will be coming together just to really talk about business, give those resources for people who are aspiring business owners or who are in business and need help, who are in business and just need some mentorship, or whatever you need when it comes to your business, you're going to get it here at this event. So make sure you get your tickets. And I just really enjoyed you for this show. Thank you for everybody that's tuning in live. And thank you to everybody that's watching the recording of this. But until next time, y'all. Oh, wait, 3 tips. I know
3 tips.
You got to
3 tips.
Yes.
Okay.
3 tips.
3 tips. All right. First of all, check in with yourself. Do a mind, body, soul check in each time you get a chance. Use that remote or that mute button in between commercials. And remember, what's easy to do is also easy not to do. Put buffers in place, and you know why you're doing what you're doing. Those are my tips.
Those are amazing tips. These are so awesome. Thank you guys for tuning in today. I know we'll be back next week. I know for sure we'll have Ebony J on us with us for our next podcast. We had a conflict in schedule, so she couldn't be on this conversation tonight. Although I know she would have been an added gem. But me and Tanya, we talked y'all head off tonight. I hope y'all had a pen and paper, because y'all done heard everything from being in Hollywood to the mind, the subconscious, to some buffers, CSI. We done went to a lot of places, all to come to the point of media is powerful, and learning how to use it to benefit you and have a responsibility to your community is, a game changer. So thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you get your Hustle for Change tickets. And until next time, y'all, peace.